Welcome to Love It or Leave It Live or Else, and I just had a very interesting dinner with Jesse Armstrong, creator of Succession, and he told me that in the finale, which is exactly what I predicted. Let's get into it. What a week. On Monday, the Mess America pageant continued as South Carolina Senator Tim Scott announced that he's running for president. Said Scott at his launch event,
"Our party and our nation are standing at a time for choosing victimhood or victory. Victimhood or victory."
"You've given me a lot to think about," said a man in the crowd wearing a Kill Fauci t-shirt who hasn't been to the doctor in 7 years, but has yelled at the manager of a Food Lion for continuing to stock Bud Light Lime. Donald Trump welcomed Scott's candidacy, posting on Truth Social, "Good luck to Senator Tim Scott at entering the Republican primary race. It is rapidly loading up with lots of people, and Tim is a big step up from Ron DeSantis, who is totally unelectable." This is like a boyfriend saying, "You're so much cooler than my dumb, crazy ex who no one thinks is hot anymore." It's nice to hear, but is it? Trump continued, "I loved Tim Scott when he played Malcolm X, and also when he was in I Am Legend, and also when he's Kanye. He's great." Then on Wednesday, Governor Ron DeSantis officially announced his run for president, but it felt more like a crawl for president as DeSantis formally announced the decision during a glitching, crashing, and overall humiliating live Twitter Spaces conversation with, of course, Elon Musk and a random anti-woke venture capitalist.
Now it's quiet.
Tonight, I'm pleased to introduce two individuals who've done more to loosen the...
Let's see. So, we on? Yeah, I think so.
Just to simplify this.
Mamma mia, that's a glitchy meatball. All right. In fact, it was 30 minutes into the whole affair before DeSantis actually said he was running. The two tech bros at times seemed to forget to bring Ron into the conversation. And after Elon's feed crashed, hundreds of thousands of listeners never tuned back in. You might think it's strange for a presidential candidate to announce in an audio-only medium to a hyper-online crowd of about 200,000 people, rather than, say, using the medium of television. But then you hear the voice.
Well, I am running for president of the United States to lead our great American comeback.
And then you realize that's the sexiest voice in human history. Ron DeSantis sounds like Kermit the Frog asking a seatmate on a plane to lose the mask. Ron DeSantis sounds like an inchworm that's been given a voice for a day by a witch so he can tell his teenage son he's not allowed to have sleepovers. Ron DeSantis sounds like a meditation tape for people who burned down a national forest with a gender reveal. Ron DeSantis sounds like a guy who started his own secret society and still got kicked out. Ron DeSantis sounds like he spent his formative years with a shock collar on that zapped him anytime he gave off Italian charisma. Ron DeSantis sounds like the voice in your head if you're on a model train website reading a 0-star review for a conductor's hat. Ron DeSantis sounds like he's running to be president of the Teacup Pomeranian Eugenics Society. End of list. Thank you. Thank you. After the fiasco was complete, Trump posted a video declaring Ron 2024 with Ron styled in the font of Jeb over video of Elon's SpaceX Starship collapsing and exploding upon takeoff. Trump must be stopped from reclaiming the presidency at all costs. But the Republican primaries are now a pasta maker that turns wet, soft, spineless dough into Trump-shaped noodles. Whoever wins, we all lose. And we're not Republican primary voters. At best, our influence would boil down to reverse psychology. So with all that in mind, can we stop to appreciate watching these ambitious, cynical fucking dorks get absolutely steamrolled? Can we say that video rips? Do we gotta hand it to them? Something to think about. Meanwhile, Democratic presidential candidate Marianne Williamson's top two campaign officials resigned over the weekend. You got a feel for Marianne. It's tough to lose your two most senior chunks of rose quartz at the same time. CNN announced this week that it will host a town hall with former Vice President Mike Pence next month in Iowa. But oh no, all the town hall attendees are Trump holding a noose, and also inexplicably, Florence Henderson wearing a stovepipe hat is describing the perfect male physique to a northern red cardinal in a cage. Awoke Mike Pence from a nightmare. Just going to let that one, you got to just think about it. And Chief Justice John Roberts commented on recent ethics scandals around the Supreme Court. I want to assure people I am committed to making certain that we as a court adhere to the highest standards of conduct. We are continuing to look at things we can do to give practical effect to that commitment, Roberts said as Clarence Thomas tripped and a bunch of rubies spilled out of his coat pockets. Roberts also explained that approving security fencing around the Supreme Court was the hardest decision of his tenure. I also gave a big thumbs up to destroying the wetlands this week, and that was easy, but I saved Obamacare. I'm a weird dude. At a fundraising auction for the National Republican Congressional Committee, Marjorie Taylor Greene donated $100,000 for a used chapstick once owned by House Speaker Kevin McCarthy. She would have donated the sum anyway, but now she gets a dinner with the Speaker out of the deal. $100K gets you dinner with McCarthy, but for $200K, you can eat alone. For interested perverts, you could find more kinky used Republican keepsakes on their new portal, OnlyBans. Oh no. And it rhymes bands and fans. During a House session on Wednesday in which she was presiding, MTG called for members to abide by the decorum of the House, prompting a wave of laughter from Democrats.
The members are reminded to abide by decorum of the House.
All right, listen. Can I tell you guys something? This sparks a body memory of being bullied for me. like I want a wise old teacher to come up and say, hey now everybody, in a way that says, I get why you all fucking hate her, but you know her home life must suck based on her personality and defense mechanisms, so you can just let her finish her presentation so I can give her the C- and we can get on with our lives and I can get back to fantasizing about an affair with the hot new teacher who made eye contact with me last week, and from that nothing, I've built a whole galaxy of happiness in my mind. Lauren Boebert had this to say during a House Oversight Committee hearing on prescription drug prices.
I left a prescription at a pharmacy once. I went to get birth control, and I was there at the counter and went to pay for it, and the price was very, very high. I said, wow, is this a 3-6-month prescription? No, ma'am, this is 1 month. And I said, it's cheaper to have a kid.
Lauren, you're so close to getting it. You're just on the fucking cusp. It's like, you wonder what it's like to have someone who has like real life experience but no empathy. You know? You think you just... Like, it's a real experience she had. Took the wrong lesson from it. Better than one of those like senators that didn't realize gay people are okay until their kid is gay. That sucks. That's empathy without experience. She has experience without empathy. You need both, but actually just the empathy will do when you think about it. I've actually never thought about that before at all. And I'm realizing that that's pretty true. Ideally, you have both experience and empathy. This way the empathy feels a bit deeper and richer, you know? But empathy is better than experience, as, you know, as evidenced by that comment. Every House Democrat signed a Shut up. If you laugh, it doesn't make sense because they won't hear the edit. It'll just be fucking smooth. Leave this part in, but not the thing I cut. People will just die not knowing what it was. Every House Democrat signed a discharge petition to force a clean vote to raise the debt ceiling, but they would still need at least 5 Republican votes to bypass House Speaker Kevin McCarthy. Meanwhile, any deal that McCarthy would bring to the floor would inevitably need many more Democrats. So step right up, 5 Republicans who are ready to do the right thing one time and become lobbyists. Come on. Being in Congress sucks. Do it and be a legend. I hope by the time this comes out, the country hasn't defaulted. Yeah, what? A new poll this week found that a majority of Americans want Congress to raise the debt ceiling without forcing any spending cuts. But, unfortunately, the same poll also found that should the United States default on its debt because no deal is reached, independent voters would blame Biden by a 9-point margin. Congrats to every news report and piece of commentary that helped convince independent voters that if the bus blew up, it was Keanu's fault. As the U.S. government nears... Oh, God. Now there's a typewriter on here. It's getting busier by the fucking day up here. I don't know. As the U.S. government nears default, the Treasury Department has started asking federal agencies if they can put off making payments until later. Sure thing, said the agencies. We just need to see America's FICO score, proof of employment, and address, plus 2 references. Also this week, a man was arrested after intentionally crashing a U-Haul truck near the White House, then waving around a Nazi flag. Oh, like you're always your best self on moving day. Oath Keepers leader Stuart Rhodes, who was convicted of seditious conspiracy, has been sentenced to 18 years in prison for his role in mobilizing the attack on the Capitol. And is great. And he's expected to be a first-round draft pick for prison white supremacists. Surgeon General Vivek Murthy warned in a 19-page report this week that social media can have a profound risk of harm to children and young people. Thank God I'm 40, the age at which social media starts to make you feel incredible. I really do think, like, imagine, like, we all did this thing, and it made us all feel like absolute fucking dog shit. It's not going to make any sense. The NAACP has issued a travel advisory for Florida, warning that Governor Ron DeSantis has made the state openly hostile toward African Americans, people of color, and LGBTQ+ individuals. They went on to urge travelers to please enjoy Florida from the safety of their home by tuning into Fox News. Said a gay in South Beach who was looking forward to a visit from an old friend from out of state because they always had chemistry but nothing ever happened in a way that was confusing. Like you say, oh, the timing never lined up. But really what that means is you were young and now with perspective you realize all the obstacles were immaturity. Hey! Iron Ice Cube. After a complaint by a parent, the poem Amanda Gorman wrote for the inauguration of President Biden was reviewed by a panel and deemed more appropriate for middle school than elementary school and moved to a different section of a school library in Florida. Is not educational and have indirectly hate messages, complained the bad parent, who later apologized when it was discovered that she posted the Protocols of the Elders of Zion on her Facebook page, explaining that she wasn't much of a reader. That's true. There was a time when someone like me yelled at people and everyone knew to ignore it, she continued. Now I'm in charge of the libraries. God bless America. Are any of you Jews? Meanwhile, I feel like that was my fault. That was just a series of facts that seemed like jokes, and then a joke that seemed like a fact. Meanwhile, earlier this week, Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton called for the resignation of House Speaker Dade Phelan, accusing him of being publicly drunk while presiding over a session on the House floor.
Mr. Campbell sent an amendment. The amendment is acceptable to the author. Is there objection to the opposite amendment? And the chair has none. The amendment is adopted.
That's cool as hell. That's great. Hey, he's drunk at work. Thought he could hang it to keep it together. He couldn't. Now, it also turns out Paxton is angry because Phelan opposed using state funds to settle a $3 million whistleblower lawsuit against Paxton from former staffers who resigned or were fired after 8 people reported him to the FBI for corruption because of favors Paxton allegedly did for a campaign contributor who employed a person with whom Paxton had an affair, for which he also apologized. Yeah. And then today, the Texas House General Investigating Committee recommended Paxton be impeached and removed from office, accusing him of years of wrongdoing. So now we are rooting for the drunk Republican Speaker of the Texas House. Also this week, Uber's head of diversity was suspended after hosting a company event titled Don't Call Me Karen, focused on the experience of being a white woman in America. Hey, come on. Come on. You don't know. Worse, the suspension has radicalized her. She now goes by the name Karen X. On a lighter note, it's been an especially rough season on Mount Everest. Fuck. With climbers dying on the Himalayan mountain almost daily. I don't know what it's going to take to get lawmakers to finally start regulating self-driving Teslas. I like picturing it. I'm almost out, by the way. I'm almost out. I'm gonna get rid of this fucking thing. I'm so close. I'm so close to the end. Can't wait to tell you about it. It's like trying to get rid of depleted uranium. The Dodgers have reinvited the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence to their annual Pride Night after initially caving to a right-wing backlash. Nice try, baseball people. But if you knew anything about the gays, you'd know there is nothing more insulting than rescinding an invitation to an event we didn't want to go to. Killer whales have reportedly been teaching each other to attack and capsize boats around the coast of Europe. So if you saw me in the dark backroom of a restaurant in Spain showing a picture of Harlan Crow's yacht to an orca in a wig, no, you didn't. A Kentucky man was arrested after shooting his roommate in the ass after the roommate allegedly ate the last Hot Pocket. Said the roommate, "Ow, my ass." Now, I want you to understand this. Yes, it works. It works better than it should have. Let me tell you what happened here. Let me tell you about this joke. Because this joke, I'm going to tell you what happened. This joke was originally supposed to be, "Ow, my ass." You know, like in the cadence. See, it doesn't fucking work. I know. I agreed that it wasn't going to work. I told you I was going to. I said I was going to fucking explain it because in my mind it was going to be fun to say, "Ow, my ass," like in the, but I'm not getting it. It's not sounding Hot Pockets, you know? "Ow, my ass." You see? The meter, what do you mean the meter's off? Da da da, da da da, ba ba da. It's a.
You don't say
"Ow, my ass."
You say "ow, my ass."
"Ow, my ass." "Ow, my ass." Hot Pockets, ow my ass. Hot Pockets, da da da, ow my ass. Hot Pocket, wrap it up. Ow my ass. Yeah, is that I'm not going high enough? I gotta know, the fucking audacity to do the hand thing from the fucking crowd. Shame on you. Shame on you. Dun, dun, dun. All right. Scientists have discovered a chlamydia-like bacteria in the Great Barrier Reef, which has begun plaguing the coral. Can't fuck the koalas, can't fuck the coral. Is there anything left you can fuck in Australia? It's a callback. If you've been keeping up with Love It or Leave It to be on board for that one. That one's for the true fans. And finally, a Minnesota woman has been reunited with a diamond ring that she accidentally dropped in a toilet 13 years ago. The woman said, "It looks exactly how I remembered it. Absolutely slathered in human shit."